So let's turn to you, Graham, and get your thoughts on that question. So just to repeat it real quick, what standards of success do you think are appropriate for theistic arguments? Must they rationally compel belief? And if so, why?
Okay, so this is a very difficult topic, and there's a lot to say. And because my views on this seem to be different from everybody else's, I'm a bit unsure how far I should go with it. So maybe I can start with this. There are different kinds of arguments. So suppose that there's a worldview dispute. So two people have got different worldviews and they're arguing with one another or trying to persuade the other to maybe reconsider. One clearly successful argument is one that takes a bunch of things that belong to the other person's worldview and show that they're inconsistent, right? That gives that person some work to do. It doesn't say anything about what they have to do, and it doesn't say that they have to do it straight away, because we can tolerate inconsistencies for long periods of time. There are ways of sort of partitioning inconsistencies, right? Nonetheless, by any standards, this is going to be a successful argument, right? And I'm inclined to think that that's not only is that the gold standard, it's sort of the only standard, right, for successful argument. And that often when people are thinking about giving arguments, they're not really doing what they should be doing, because what they should be doing, if you're sort of thinking about worldviews and which one is better, is thinking about the theoretical virtues of the worldviews directly and talking about those. So now let me say something. I mean, obviously I just made some enormous claims and I'm not going to be able to justify them in the amount of time that we're going to have to discuss this. Suppose I've got a worldview. Think of my worldview as a big set of claims. It's a very big theory. So worldviews, I think of them roughly as theories of everything, right? So you can think of it as something like everything that I believe and all the things that I'm committed to it's not quite right to say I believe them, but I'm committed to them by the things that I believe, right? There will be lots and lots and lots of sound arguments that we can make. Pick any one of the things I believe, there'll be any number of sound arguments that we can make that have that thing as its conclusion. By my lights, that is, take a bunch of other things I believe or that I'm committed to, and you'll be able to make an argument with that conclusion. I would say infinitely many, but you can see that there are going to be lots, right? Once you've seen that point, it becomes questionable what would be the use of exhibiting arguments that by your lights are sound. Why not just instead say, I believe this, this, and this, right? What do you think? That seems to me to be the dialectical move to make. And the argument, dressing it up as an argument isn't actually adding anything. Maybe I can add one more thing to this. I'm just thinking about deductive arguments at the moment. If you've got an argument from A, B, and C to D that's logically valid, right? So D is a logical consequence of A, B, and C. Then it will be the case that A, B, C, and not D are logically inconsistent, and it runs in the other direction as well. So when we're talking about valid arguments, you present me with an argument and you've picked out a particular proposition to be the conclusion, but the validity of the argument, assuming that it's valid, what it presents to me is a choice, assuming that I don't accept the conclusion, right, that you've picked out. I might prefer to reject, or maybe prefer's the wrong word, I might have reason to reject one of the premises instead. So I think, and I've been arguing in various places recently, that very broadly in philosophy of religion, there's a kind of misunderstanding about what arguments can do and what they're good for that's led us to sort of talk about the wrong topic.